decision is going to be made. We need to be there. And with regards to transportation as well, and other ways that we can, kind of bid in on that decision a little bit. But again, all respect to everybody, but I would appreciate if we would, refrain from using certain jargons and speak to us as a community and speak to us as individuals who have lived here and who have opinions on this. And we are going to be facing some struggles. Economics, of course that is important. The money is important. The business is important. I understand that. The jobs, that is a great thing. Everybody is going to need a job, especially. I understand that. However, within our community, it is important to realize that there are other, businesses that we can bring to the table. There are other resources we can bring to the table. Unfortunately, yes, I have family members who do use cannabis in a medical sense. I have family members who use it for, other reasons. It is legal in Illinois now for recreational use, and I assume that medical would not be the only limitation for this dispensary anyway. So, again, I would just like for you guys to understand that, for the executives to understand where our frustration is coming from, because it's more than just the business. It's more than just another chain for you guys. For you guys, you come in here prepared. You bring in, quite frankly, you're very well-educated, men to speak to everybody. Everybody's dressed in suits, and when we speak in a way that you guys might not understand, you do a little giggle, a little smile. It's not really appreciated. So if we can speak to us as people moving forward, that would be great.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, there was a question.
You have another one?
No, we don't.
Just ask a technical question. If you end up developing it, in addition to parking, will you have parking for bikes?
Yes. Yes. In order to comply with the landscape requirements for the city of Chicago, when we apply for the permit, they require that we add bike racks, and so we will be adding bike racks.
And is there any kind of emphasis, like reaching on design aspects and stuff like that, but adding some sort of greenery, plantations or something like that?
There will be actually. The landscaping plan calls for a lot of new planting around the perimeter, as well as in islands within the parking lot with shade trees and shrubs and things like that. So there would be.
Yeah, I think you're going to find we're going to beautify the building and the parking lot and quite a bit.
You can beautify, but you just don't want the need.
Okay.
For the traffic study,
Yeah.
I know you're doing traffic volumes. Can you also look at the possibility of increased crashes at this intersection?
Yeah, we've looked at that. We've pulled accident data from IDOT. All of our studies looks at all modes of transportation. Traffic is the big concern. We also look at pedestrians. We do bike counts. We pull the accident data. It's a multimodal study, so we do take a look at all of that. We look at the transportation in the area and how that impacts everything, and bus routes and all of that too.
What's the URL to your study?
What's that?
What's the URL to your study?
URL
The URL to your study.
It's not published on the URL.
Oh, it's not done.
It's not
Oh,
completed
it's
yet.
not conclusive. Oh.
And part of the reason we're in the process of doing it, we want to take in your comments and make sure we address all of your concerns.
A number of comments were brought up about bike counts specifically, and we're addressing them.
And we understand that Amazon's next door. We've heard it. We've counted the intersections. We're pulling out that traffic so we can classify how much it is. So we're addressing it all. And before we even started, we knew a lot of the concerns, and we're trying to address all of those in the traffic study.
And there were also concerns raised about SOX traffic and how that might be part of it as well. That's going to be embedded in the study as well. We listened. In the major meeting that we had with a number of the community organizations, there was a significant list of issues that were raised, and there were initial issues that were raised at McKinley Park, at the church that we've addressed. And that we're working towards a finalization. So.
And I don't know who brought it up, but someone indicated they haven't been around enough and our data is flawed. we've been working on cannabis for 5 or 6 years now. There's a lot of trip generation surveys out there. There's surveys out there that actually show you how much traffic is generated. There's manuals on this. And that's what we rely on, and that's what CDOT relies on when they review our study. So we're not pulling these numbers out of the air. We've been working on them for years. We've gone back and looked at ones that have been approved, see how they're operating. So it's a very thorough study and a comprehensive study, and you all will be able to get to see it. We'll address all of your concerns, and I appreciate the time, and thank you.
Is your developer planning to own the property long-term, or are they planning to sell it once it's developed?
You know, to be honest with you, I'm, you know, that's the developer, you know, his long-term plans aren't really germane to my, we will enter into a long-term lease. So we're gonna be long-term tenants here. If the developer sells it to another landlord, it won't, we'll be in a contractual lease for a long term. It won't affect our position here one way or the other.
Are you gonna be responsible for all the maintenance?
100%. Yeah, yeah, it's a triple net lease. It's in fact called an absolute net lease, where as tenants, we will be responsible for all maintenance, repairs, everything.
Okay. And then, if your employees choose to unionize, will you commit today that you'll recognize their union?
100%. We already have unions in our New Jersey facilities. That's, you know, we're union friendly. I mean, again, the owners of Justice are all about the working class people, and the Illinois Cannabis Union is just organizing now. Illinois is a little bit lagging in terms of the its cannabis laws and everything. The East Coast is a little more mature, and they're already starting to unionize there. So we will embrace that when it comes. Yes.
To research your company, do we look up Justice, or how do we find you? Or?
Yeah, you can if you wanted to find out a little bit more about us online, please look up Block, B-L-O-C, Block Dispensary. That is how we brand our dispensaries. And if you look up Justice Cannabis, you might go down a wrong rabbit hole. There's a, believe it or not, I don't know how it happened, but there's another Justice Cannabis out in Oregon, unrelated to us. But if you end up seeing anything in Oregon, that is not us. I'm sure they're a great company, but they're not our company. So if you want to know a little bit about us, look up the word Block, B-L-O-C, Block Dispensary. And we have a website, and you can see all our locations across the country. Gives you a little bit of a background on the company, and you know, you can see what we're all about online.
Okay, I think our time is coming to an
Okay,
end.
like today's meeting, we are recording in Zoom, right? Is there any way you can share that, and then we can share with the community?
Yeah, it's on Facebook, right?
We will, I'll share it if so. I think we were recording, but I'll have to make sure after the fact.
And the McKinley Park Development Council Facebook page has the whole live video. So.
What's the average pay for bud tenders, and do you have a minority business license, or what was that?
We are not a minority-owned business, if that's what you mean.
Well, you said you have like the amount of employees that work for you
yes.
that classifies you as.
Yes, yes, but the employees qualified. Our employee, we hire a number of minority employees, and that's what qualified us for this.
Is your business license, is it?
Oh,
the dispensary license, is the license that you have with the city, is it minority?
It's a social.
Or is
it's a social equity, yes, it's a social equity license.
So just to give you a little bit more background about that, the state issues the licenses, and there's a category of license called a social equity license, and people who are eligible for those types of licenses can qualify in different ways. I think what you're remembering is one way you can qualify is if it's minority-owned business, but there's other ways to qualify too, including if a certain number of your employees come from certain backgrounds, and that's how they qualify in this case. So I think we're nearing the end of our time here. We appreciate all of the questions and comments and dialogue.
Yeah, and you had asked about the pay for bud tenders. As I said, industry, our average is $60,000. I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm really not sure what our starting pay is for bud tenders.
$18 an hour. I researched it before, sorry.
Thank you. So there you go.
He's on top of it.
Well, there you go. It's $18 an hour apparently. So 36, which is roughly 36,000 a year, as a starting. But we have huge benefits, and people move up very fast in our company too.
Question from the back.
Okay.
What type of education will your employees need to have with training?
It's state required, so our security guards are required to have a 2-week mandatory state training guard course, and I think it's a certificate that is that what it's called? The state certificate that they get from the state. So they have to pass a test, take classes for our security guards. Our management and our sales staff and our staff in the back in the vault. They will also they get trained, first of all, on the operations of the company. And then most of them come in with some sort of, there's a lot of community colleges now that offer training for bud tenders and classes that you can take. So those kind of people will stand out amongst our applicants for the various jobs. And we also highly encourage and actually would help fund paying for our employees to go for continuing education, to go and learn more, so that if they wanted to advance in their career.
Okay.
Can you say anything to that?
Bethlehem Township Police released images of medical.
We don't know anything.
In Pennsylvania, I don't know what.
Okay.
Please explain what you just said. You just described something. I didn't understand it.
She was showing us an
A news
article about a
article
dispensary in Pennsylvania, which we don't know anything about.
Well, can you tell us what it is?
It says,
No, just tell us. Okay.
well, I didn't get to read it yet. I had my daughter research it.
You guys can talk after the meeting. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Thank you very much for your time today, everybody. We appreciate it.
I don't know. I'm gonna read it.